What's going on? This is Pedram, and I'm coming to you from Path to Purity. Today, in this video, I want to talk about, does porn cause spiritual death? That's right. I know the title seems a little bit too strong, but does it really? Does porn cause spiritual death? And the simple answer is yes, it does. Now, we might live in a society where they promote porn, pornography, and they promote being like James Bond is a cool thing, and sleeping with women, getting laid is a cool thing. But in reality, does it mean you're a cool person if you're going around and sleeping around? And does fornication for a cool person or someone who is like James Bond? Because most of us think if we don't get laid or if we don't go out there and sleep with a woman on a day-to-day basis, it's not cool or we are not good enough as a man. As a strong man, we have to do this in order for us to become strong or to remain a strong man. And I'm here to tell you, we all been lied to. This is a myth. And just because you're going around there and sleeping around does not make you a cool person or someone who is a strong person. In fact, it means the opposite. The society has fooled us into believing if you're not going around sleeping around, if you're not getting laid, we are only half of a man and we're not strong or we're not cool. And in order to be cool, you got to do this. You see countless movies like James Bond, that portray this image and portray this lifestyle, when reality is the other way round. And just like women, when they feel guilty of going around and sleeping around, women have to have or have the same thing inside of us. We all feel guilty when we're just going around and sleeping around. We all feel guilty deep inside of us. Now, some people might find ways to justify it, but it doesn't make it right. And as long as we have a conscience, we're going to feel it when we going around and doing this. Anyway, back to the topic. Does it cause, is porn causes you to have a spiritual death? Yes, it does, because it becomes all you think about. It consumes you. And if you go to any moral text, um, when I read the Bible, for example, I see that it simply says that this is wrong and it's considered to be a sin. Now, some people might say um, spiritual texts or holy texts are there to control us, but in reality is that it's there to help us not cross boundaries. And as someone who is been an addict for a very long time, I can tell you that it does cause spiritual death based on my own understanding of it in my own life and the people I have spoken to. It really causes you to become spiritually dead. And I cannot explain to you uh, what happens to you when you are sinning or when you're using pornography or fornicating. But for whatever reason, you kind of, our brain goes numb. It's almost like we lose the invisible hand, the support of God or the higher power, as some people like to call it. We lose that blessing or that happiness that is with us, because porn, it consumes us. It becomes all we think about. We tend to isolate ourselves when we are on this drug, and we tend to objectify the opposite sex, whether you're man or woman. and we go deeper in the hole until we one day wake up and find ourselves in the basement. Now, a homeless person, if you ask him 10 years before he or she became homeless, did you knew that this is going to happen to you? The answer is very clearly no. I thought it can only happen to other people and it cannot happen to me. And they were on their way to becoming that person. And that's what exactly pornography does to you. It causes a spiritual death based on moral texts and based on my own experience as an addict. I can tell you for sure that once you're on this stuff, you are only operating, I don't know, maybe less than half of your capacity. Whereas when you are living under the moral text or staying away from sin, you find yourself that you are in a much happier place. You can connect with people better. You can focus, you can concentrate, you can easily make friends, you can do stuff that a normal person does. But when you go in this darkness, things seems to get more and more dark. And I cannot express to you what it does to you over the long period of time. It becomes all you think about, it consumes you, you isolate you, and it will disconnect you from reality and take you to another planet, which is called a planet isolation, deep, dark, under, unhappy, sad, angry, numb, shame, guilt, pain. All of that stuff is just scratch of the surface what this actually does to you spiritually. And we got to choose. We got to choose is either God's blessing, staying out of sin and being happy, feeling connected, being able to focus, being able to take care of our loved ones, finances, career, all of the good stuff that makes life worth living. Or are we going to go into a bed of pleasure, pornography, food, drugs, junk food, all of that stuff where it only feels good on the moment, and but eventually as time goes on, it gets darker and darker, and we are more consumed, more isolated, more disconnected, and we are living out of reality, not even on earth, because of all the sick thinking. It will take us there. And yes, it does cause spiritual death. That's why when you read any holy text, in this case the Bible, you will see that fornication and sex outside of marriage is strictly forbidden, and it causes destructive patterns, and it causes us um, to be destructive and to develop addiction. And we got to make a choice. Is it we want to live a happy, blessed life connected to our Creator, or we want to have a bit of pleasure and mess it all up just for the moment and just bit of pleasure? Ultimately, is our own choice. But to answer the question, yes, a big yes, definitely causes spiritual death. And in order for you to live your best you got to come out of this darkness. Because until you don't come out of this darkness, you don't know what's standing on the other side. Especially if you haven't experienced it yet. If you've been somebody who has been in addiction for as long as you can remember, and you haven't experienced the light because you've been in the darkness for so long, once you come out in the light, you never want to go back to that darkness, because that's what ultimately is to stay sober, to work on yourself, to develop a relationship with God, and to work on your character defects and cleaning the house, and really go to work to really fix yourself as a person, instead of just numbing out and going to fantasy land and start developing love addiction, all of the addiction, just simply because we cannot handle the pain, because it's lonely, it's hard, and it's painful. So we got to decide, do we want life or do we want death? Because one is ultimately you are living, but you are living like a zombie. You're basically walking around with your eyes closed, and it's no difference than death, because you're walking around in this very, very low vibration state, whereas the other one is you're feeling life and you are seeing what really life is about. So I'm sure the choice on clear is very clear for me. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below if you have any questions, and I'm also giving away a free training where I go into a little bit more details on what it takes to overcome addiction. I'll leave the link on the description or somewhere around the video. Click on that and subscribe for more videos just like this one. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.